I held off on talking about this for quite a bit of time. Really, what do you say? I just started to tell people that I was going to do a video about it, and well, here I am. March 8th, 2007 will probably be the year that changed my life for good. Maybe when it's all said and done, who knows? Now's as good a time as any to talk about it. And talk about its effect on me and really kind of how it changed everything. But let me back up just a little, give some of you some background. I had moved to Houston to join Booker T's PWA. Not much else of a plan. And I left PCW and wanted to be a student, especially initially when I got there. I wanted to learn and just learn. But I didn't have a plan. Kind of came as just kind of a knee-jerk reaction, and Ashleigh was cool with me going after my dream. She said, go get the contract. She believed that Booker's was that path. It was that step towards the contract. And I was confident that if I got the right look, that's where I'd be. So I'm just trying to make it, trying to learn and having some good matches and really believing like I've got some positive momentum. I'm happy with where I'm at. I'm enjoying the aspect of learning and whatnot, but started to feel like I needed to branch out. Started thinking about going back to PCW, traveling some, and bringing her with me. Because I left. Kind of left our act as well in the midst of our act. But here was a time to really bring it back, and not just PCW, but elsewhere. And I was working, steady office job and probation, just being on probation for it, just waiting. So March 6th I get the wonderful news that I will now be getting benefits from work. And I will now be permanent. That was a good moment for me to be told that. To be part of the working force again. To be earning my keep and paying my way, and things were looking up. And parents are proud, and it was a good feeling. And again, I started coming up with this idea. There's a match between me and Action Jackson, a Kiss My Foot match, and Ashleigh's predominant on that. And me and Action Jackson had Facebook and been part of the Sportatorium stuff, so I figured he would be cool with it, and maybe, just maybe, he would like what he saw between me and Ashleigh, our chemistry, what she brought to the table, and maybe, just maybe, we could do that at PWA. I was going to present him with this DVD, or, of the match, let him check it out. So it was good. Had a real good long conversation with Ashleigh on the 7th to really talk about things moving forward and my plans and my ideas. And I was giddy because I was going to get to be with her again. hang with her on a regular basis. I've been kind of strained because I wasn't home. I wasn't in Arlington. I wasn't there. I was in Houston. And although she understood, I think, we missed one another, and it'd be just a good opportunity, an excuse yet again, and could treat it like vacation. But we get to perform. I was so looking forward to the following weekend, the 17th, because I knew I was going to see her, and it'd be St. Patty's Day and a PCW show, and man, I looked forward to that, to being with her again, to being in a locker room with her, watching her put on her makeup, or catching a glimpse of her and our eyes meeting across a room, or backstage at shows, and right when we'd muster up, have our little meeting, she would stand behind me and her hand would graze mine, and I would get so wound up before matches, she would just calm me down. I really just wanted to impress her. I always wanted to impress her. So I'm good during the day of March 8th. It's just another day. It's a Thursday. I mean, nothing unique about it. Go to practice after work, get to the weekend, wait for the 17th, get there and blow the roof off, and one more time. DeMarco and Tavia, entertaining like we only could. I remember getting a MySpace message from her that morning, getting texts throughout the day, and about 4:45 I got a winky face, always made me laugh. I anticipated talking to her later that night, talking about my day and about practice, telling her, hey, I gave the DVD to book, and we'll see. Keep your fingers crossed. About 6:15, I get a phone call. I'm at work still. Got about another hour. That's from Terry the Book. And I thought Terry was calling me about Book's next show. So I wasn't going to answer at first. And something told me to. I mean, out of respect, I respect Booker. And Terry the Book, I respect him as well. So I answered it. And, what's up? And he said Ashleigh's been shot. And I thought it was a sick joke. I did not find the humor in that. And if you're trying to rib me, it's not a way to rib somebody. She's been shot. You find out everything you can. He knew the club. I worked there. He knew the girls. He knew the staff, much like I did. But he was there. And he was racing there. And he was going to get back to me and let me know. And I began to pray that maybe it was just a wound, maybe gunfire, but she was going to make it. And I started to kind of freak out and called other people and tried calling the club, but the GM couldn't give me any information. And so it's not knowing. For about an hour, that's what it was, not knowing. About 7:15, I get a phone call, and it's from Ashleigh's phone. I used to have the ringtone Crazy Bitch. It just kind of described her to a T, but in a playful way. And I had this very provocative, her in a very provocative pose. And that would be my screensaver when she would call. So I answered like it was just a big joke, right? How you doing? Everything good? Da, 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 But it wasn't her. it was someone on the other line to tell me that Ashleigh wasn't going to make it. She hadn't made it. She'd passed on. She passed on. I don't remember much else of that phone conversation. I think a thank you. Is there anything you need? We'll talk about the funeral. And then silence, and never would I wish that upon anybody. To get that phone call while at work. And everything changed. Everything changed. Called work, my boss, to let them know Ashleigh passed. Take all the time I need. Called my mom to let her know. She told who she needed to tell. She didn't know what to tell me. Couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine. I have quite the imagination. I couldn't imagine it. So, I confirm it with a few people. Have a long talk with Booker T. One of the only man-to-man talks I think he and I really had face-to-face. He gave me, take all the time you need. Wrestling was here for me, is what he said. You know, times like that, but take all the time I need. Was hanging out. Really didn't want to drive. Really didn't know what to think. Didn't know what to do. Books was relatively close to my work, which is the only reason I probably went there. Two, I wanted to see familiar faces, people I knew. And I was holding it pretty well together until my friend Joey Corman called. And then you know how fast news travels. You find out. I found out that Joey's a good friend because, you know, he kind of summed it up the best way he could and tried to offer comfort. But it was then that I realized it was real. It was very real. It was very true and whatnot. So, the 9th, I tried to go to work, couldn't. I couldn't do anything. Couldn't do anything. Could not do anything. The 10th, I was in Arlington. I was en route that I can remember. And went to PCW. I found it odd, certain things that would remind me, you know, not just the place, but certain things. We're sitting in a meeting, we're standing in the meeting ready to talk, and talk was definitely about Ashleigh's passing. And we're meeting up, and just as we're all getting together, someone's phone goes off, and it's on by Three Doors Down, right here. I think is the title line. It escapes me. But that was a song that me and her dedicated to each other at one time or another. And I felt kind of a presence, and I don't know what to think. I tried to find out what happened. And I got told specifically what happened from a lot of eyewitnesses. Anyone who wanted me to know would tell me, and anyone I asked told me. I went to the club and I asked what specifically happened, and this guy, who was married, had a kid, like a baby newborn, and liked her, and I don't. Liked her, was infatuated with her. Married man with a kid, infatuated with Ashleigh. I don't blame him. I was enamored and infatuated with Ashleigh. I was in love with Ashleigh, I will say it. But this guy become a regular, and a regular of hers as far as, we come to the club. It was a normal Thursday like nothing, and the guy was there about an hour and acted like nothing was wrong. And you come to realize that he tells the bartender, throws the bartender's keys and says, "Hey, go get something. I left something in my car, would you go get it?" And as soon as he said that, he pulled his gun and shot Ashleigh. She was probably dead right as soon as that happened. And then he shot her, I think, again, and then was about to leave when the GM told him to stop. He said no, and he shoots himself. Murder-suicide. Ashleigh so back to PCW, I have to tell fans we do a 10-bell salute and play a little video that Jamie Aller came up with, and I really appreciate him doing anything for her. A little video put together, but he even said it was hard to find shots of her where she wasn't cheating or doing something, because she was my girlfriend on the show, or my lover on the show, lover in real life, whatever have you, and the love of my life. But to play the video, I got to say my piece out of my own version of a eulogy. I had such plans, kind of like I put out. I was stable now, I was getting stable, I was getting benefits. I was going to start traveling more, I was going to include her, I was going to try to get her at PWA, I was working towards it. Maybe the act really goes well. And maybe WWE likes us both, or likes one of us, or who knows. But I was going to make it. I was going to get that contract, because that way she would always be in my life. Well, I'm going to get stable somehow and bring her here, and she can spend the rest of her days with me, and let's just be happy. Regardless of what we do, let's just be happy. So I was happy regardless of what we did. So I would go into the funeral, how the procession was so large and people, all kinds of people showed up. It was like a packed standing room only event, and it lived up to every bit of a rock star funerals you can have, and the sun shined, and it was good meeting the family I hadn't met, and them to know who I was and what she meant to me. And they really tried to embrace me, and I appreciate them for that. I tried to do everything I've read about to do at a time like this. Went to the scene of the crime. Wanted to hear what went down. I went to our favorite spots by myself to get acclimated to the idea. I went to our favorite place we would go eat all the time, to where the waitress knew us and knew our orders. Chili's, and have to tell her the news. I tried performing again. I went to PCW like I had planned. I felt that same chill and felt that same thing, and got to wrestle BJ, and there was a moment there where I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to be in that ring. It just wasn't the same. For the short time that she had walked me out, I was kind of one of those guys who rarely had a valet. But I wanted her to be part of my act. I wanted her to be in my spotlight, and I wanted her in every aspect, every part of my world. I wanted her to share it and be a star herself, because I saw her that way. She was the most beautiful being I'd ever laid eyes on, the most beautiful woman I'd ever had the honor of being with. And yet, she's gone. She was my best friend. Truly my best friend. I talked to her about everything. We shared so much. And she was part of my act. She made wrestling just fun and calming, and she had a calming effect, and I felt like beyond confident without thinking about it. I just yearned to have her in my life, and she was in my life, and I felt like we could do anything as a team. We'd get those contracts, or, I started making videos on YouTube, in part to confess my anger, just to work out what I was going through. I thought that was a way. I journaled, I put stuff on MySpace. I mean, if you go to my MySpace, there's all kinds of... Just go to the archive section, I'm sure you're going to find all kinds of stuff. It's hard to look at videos with her. Not so much now. I now am able to a degree. I can watch them without breaking down. 4 years. I have played the what if. How my life would be if she were still here. Where I would be right now. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? That's the thing about what ifs. You can never answer them. I can dream it. I can dream it up where she is alive, and I know it's not healthy. Every so often I dream of a world where she lived, and everything worked out completely different. everything. I think I'm doing this in part to say that I'm getting it off my chest. It's the thing that's weighed on me the most. March 8th is the day that changed my life. For better or for worse, I'm stable. I'm at peace with a lot of things. And I know it's a chapter in my life that part of me is still there, much like part of me still seeing her laid to rest. I'm reminded of it. Certain little things remind me. Work reminds me. A wrestling ring will remind me. Wearing those pajamas reminds me. I'm sentimental, I guess. Part of me is like, oh, let's move forward to a degree and see things anew. And be thankful for being able to breathe and alive. And I await the day when I'm completely, totally happy. But I think this is one of the first steps. And I think moving forward, I'm going to be more honest with everything in every aspect and talk about what I'm going through, what I've been really going through. Nothing ever prepares people when someone they love just is there one day and gone the next, or there 1 second and gone the next. You never really know how it's going to impact somebody, and my heart goes out to anyone who's lost someone. In closing, I miss Ashleigh more than anything. A part of me probably died the very moment she passed. I learned a lot from my time with her. I'm thankful for every second with her. It was truly a magical time in my life. One that I really wish I had enjoyed that much more. If anything, this has taught me that life is short. The relationships you have can be just as short. I never really want to take anyone for granted. I appreciate everyone who's been by my side and thought of me at this time of the year that know, and for all the nice comments. And I'll be back to a regular show sooner rather than later. I've said what I needed to say, and anything that I didn't say I've said probably. And the other stuff's between me and her. So, I appreciate all of you taking the time, as always. I'm going to leave you with some of my personal favorites, at least the pictures I can't put on YouTube or Facebook, of me and Ash and Ashleigh. Just a little album that I have, and I hope you enjoy them. So, as much as I enjoy taking them or being a part of it. But, yeah. Thanks.